I spent my entire day here at Hocking Hills hiking the Grandma Gatewood Trail, which is a section of the Buckeye Trail, which means I got to see Cedar Falls and Ash Cave. I added on a few miles and stopped over at Whispering Cave before calling it a day. That means my first hike of the season was 12 miles long. This is how it went. If it's your first time here, my name is Laura and I spent the past year going to all 50 states. This week, I'm exploring somewhere a little closer to home. It would mean so much to me if you took a second to hit subscribe. It's the best way to support me on my next adventure. Now it's time to hike. Here's what I'm taking with me. 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, Pringles, mandarin oranges, sunglasses, just in case, emergency whistle compass, pocket knife, headlamp, full jug of water, my trusty hat, maps because there's no cell phone signal, and the camera. I don't really like to wear bug spray, but it's spring, it's been very wet, and I don't want any ticks. So I put it on my shoes and my hat. If you're not familiar with ticks, they definitely like the ground. They also like to hang out in trees and kind of drop down on you. That's where I put it so that I don't have to have it on my skin. Then I put a hefty layer of sunscreen on because there are no clouds today. The great part about today's hike is that it leaves from the campground. I could have driven somewhere and started it, but this way I don't have to drive. It's also extremely hot today, so being in the shade of the trees is going to be really good. I couldn't wait to leave camp just to get in the shade. This is Rose Lake. It's for fishing, kayaking, no motors, and no swimming. We're following red blazes today. This trail kind of cuts through 2 roads, the one that we took to get to the campground and the one that you can drive to Cedar Falls. Because of that, it feels like you're in complete wilderness. I have passed 3 people with 1 pup, and that's it, in like 30 minutes. It's beautiful. It's also hard to get over how much more comfortable it is here in the woods. I was burning up at camp. It's supposed to be 85 today, and that morning sun was just beating down on the van. I admit, I was a little worried for today, but this is great. This isn't even a destination. This is so pretty. Two miles in, just like that. And this. They have these signs all over the park and the letters of where your location is. So we're right there. We're gonna walk the point 1 to here so that we can go see Cedar Falls. And then we're gonna take this blue trail, which is the Grandma Gatewood, over to Ash Cave. so cool. There's so few people that I've been waiting about 5 minutes, and I think I'm gonna be able to get a picture way up here with no people around this falls. It's nice that we have full restrooms and water at each of the trailheads. It's supposed to be 85 today. I'm sure it's full on. And I expected the water to be at each of these stops. If not, that would not be nearly enough. I already drank half of one. We are looking for eye. I admit that these letters were confusing yesterday, but today, coming in very handy. It's important to remember what color trail you're on. We started out on the red trail, which is the Gorge Rim Trail. Then we did the yellow around Cedar Falls. And now we're doing blue for the Buckeye Trail. The blazes painted on the trees will match your color of the trail. A lot of people were going up the steps after Cedar Falls. That was the red trail. They were trying to get back to the parking lot for the yellow trail. So you might end up doing a lot of extra work. Best part is it's all pretty, so at least the extra work is worth it. It is 2 miles from here to Ash Cave. And if you ever see 2 blazes on a tree, you can expect the trail to turn. So it'll be this one where you're at, and then up and to the left for a left turn, and up and to the right for a right turn. If I see one, I'll show you. Everything here is really well marked, lots of maps, but I carried my own. I've already looked at all of them, seen all the places I want to be, kind of knowing what to expect, but I've already helped 2 people with directions today. While we're walking, a little bit about the Buckeye Trail, which is the trail we're on right now. This trail is 1,440 miles and circles the entire state of Ohio. It is a trail that people through hike far less than the Appalachian Trail, but it still takes 3 or 4 months. Don't worry, when I saw all of those facts, I definitely questioned if I should just do the whole trail. Someday. I just passed a hiker that told me it's about 6 miles round trip instead of 4. Oh well. I have a feeling it's gonna end up being a little more than I expected. If we weren't hiking so many miles, I'd go up. I was walking up on that sign and I was like, 2 more miles. 0.2, which is good because I'm hungry. It's 12:45 and it's time for lunch. And I was hoping that I'd be able to have lunch at Ash Cave. This is really pretty, but 0 chance that it's just 0.2. Longest 0.2 of my life. You can see just the top of it. Wow. Talk about a cool shady spot for lunch. This is gorgeous. Drinking as much water as I can, having some Pringles, and those peanut butter and jellies. I think it's probably 15 degrees cooler here in the cave and protected from the sun. I just needed to document the fullest can of Pringles to ever exist. When I picked one out at the store, I shook it to see how much space there was, and this one had no space. I thought it was because of the pressure, but it's because it's so full. Spent about a half hour here at the cave watching people take pictures, taking my own pictures. So cool. It was a really nice break. I already feel the heat. Whew. I feel like I'm starting to understand the term uphill both ways. I think this one got me. Way more than I bargained for. About halfway back to Cedar Falls. Also, the fire tower is just over here. You're gonna have to come here yourself to see what that looks like. I've made it back to the Cedar Falls trailhead. Instead of looping back on the Gorge Ridge Trail that we did this morning, I'm actually gonna go back via the Whispering Cave to the campground. So the hike from Cedar Falls to Ash Cave was supposed to be 2 miles each way, 4 miles round trip, but I confirmed with 2 hikers, cross information, everyone is in agreement that it was actually 3 miles each way. So that's 2 extra miles. It was supposed to be 2 miles to Cedar Falls and then 6 miles round trip. So we're at 8 miles. It's almost a mile of Whispering Cave, and then it's going to be at least a mile back to the campground. So we're going to hit 10 miles today. My legs definitely feel it. The most I've really walked this spring is like 2 miles at a time. So it's a big day. Also, we are on the blue Buckeye Trail still, Grandma Gatewood section. This section heads towards the park entrance instead of the other way, and then the Cedar Falls Trail is together. So that's why you have 2 blazes. We're only together on this trail from point 1, and then ours should veer off as they circle back to the falls. Steps are just a little too big for my sore legs. It'll be interesting to see how much elevation change we have. I'm really prepared for much more. I did refill my water, still have a few snacks, so that's not an issue, but my legs are tired. At least on this way we are supposed to see a really cool bridge, and the caves are neat. It's a great place to rest on such a hot day. We have our double blazes. We need to go that way. How pretty. Wow. You know, I was just complaining that my legs were tired, but then you see something neat and you just have so much energy. It's really cool. Through my full day of hiking at Hocking Hills, this section of trail from Cedar Falls over to Whispering Cave was definitely my favorite. It is more rugged than many of the other trails, and at times I did wonder if I had lost my way. But after a few seconds of looking around, I always saw a trail marker. I would definitely recommend this one early in the day when your legs are fresh and you're ready for an adventure. Okay. a lot for my tired hiking legs. The leaves are just starting to come out, and the covers, the little covers, are just falling from the sky. It's almost like it's snowing, and it's so quiet they can actually hear them hit the ground. Crazy.
Blue moon, kind of mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? Talking bullshit. It's hard to see in your eyes like that. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you?
I was so busy crossing this mud, I almost missed this tree. Look at how big that is. I'm done. I no longer trust any of these numbers. It's also just a little muddy. Oh. Okay. This is one of the shadiest bridges I've been on. Gotta watch out for the little guys. Oop, that was a spider. It's very fast. Yeah. I was starting to have my doubts again because it said it was just 0.2. And then I passed someone who was so excited for this cave. He said that it's well worth it. Again, here I am. Think I'm alone. Crazy. It's warmer in here than Ash Cave, but it's very pretty. I think I'm gonna sit here and have some mandarin oranges. I just looked at a map, and even according to the park map, once I get the 0.2 back to the trail, I have 2.7 to get back to the campground. So it looks like I have 3 miles left. This is gonna end up being like over 12 miles, closer to 13. Whew. We're gonna take it slow, but we will get there. Also, I'll reach the visitor center in like 1.5, so we might have to stop for some water. Hopefully the sugar from my mandarin oranges kicks in and we get back real fast. It's only like 4:15, but I did expect to be done at like 3 o'clock. Okay, let's go. I sat at the visitor center for about 30 minutes because I know how hard this hill was last night. One hill between myself and the campsite. Whew. I don't know if I look as rough as I feel, but whew, happy to be back at camp. That is for sure. Admittedly, I did end up at camp about an hour ago. I have had ice cream. At the Old Man's Cave General Store, they have like 48 flavors of ice cream. I got blue raspberry. Always my go-to choice. They just mix the flavor into vanilla, which makes it super easy, which is why I have this energy again. But I wanted to stop here on my way back to the campground so that I could see this memorial. And now I see a waterfall, so we're gonna go check that out. It was a rough day hiking. I've not showered yet. My legs are very dirty. Ice cream closed at 7. I had to get there. I also needed actual ice. This is the Grandma Gatewood Memorial Hiking Trail. This 6-mile trail is dedicated to the memory of Grandma Gatewood, a vibrant woman, seasoned hiker, and longtime Hocking Hills enthusiast. The path begins here, visits Cedar Falls, and terminates at Ash Cave. It was dedicated January 17th of 1981. So the reason I know Grandma Gatewood is because she hiked the Appalachian Trail in Keds. I'll link her story in the description so that you can check it out. It's really neat that she loved Hocking Hills because it's such a great place to hike, and that they honored her with dedicating this part of the trail. This is the upper falls. I'm not gonna hike down to get a picture, but we should be able to see it from here. Actually, I saw this last night. I just didn't realize that you could walk across that bridge. How cool. This is where I went down the stairs last night, which means I really did do all of the Grandma Gatewood Trail. That's cool. I thought I would miss some of it. That was one of my goals in coming to Hocking Hills, so I'm happy to check that one off the list. Okay, we need to get back to camp, get cleaned up, and make dinner. Almost time to start the fire and make dinner, but putting my feet up for a little bit before that. As the year goes on, this becomes less of a necessity, but being the first time I hiked this year, the front of my knee just has so much pain from going downhill and like trying to stabilize. This should help. Tonight's dinner is very simple. Hot dogs that I brought from home, and when I got ice cream, I got a few packets of ketchup, so it's kind of designer dinner. If you're here, you have to come on this trail, especially if you have adventurous kids or if you're just adventurous yourself. It's beautiful.